Show Romo.
Romo. You took really long to do that.
Okay, my informative speech today is about squats. So imagine that you walk into a gym, you and your friend, and you're gonna go lift. And you see someone else lifting at a squat station, and they just look like they're brand new at this and they don't know what they're doing. But you can obviously tell that they have way too much weight on the bar and that their technique is shot. But you know, you're here to work out, so you go and do your own thing. And after a couple minutes, you hear a loud crash and a wail. And the guy with too much weight on the bar and not the correct technique, it was just too much pressure on his ACL and his ACL tore. The lifter could have easily prevented such an extreme injury just with a little bit of knowledge about technique. Exercise is really beneficial, but it's only beneficial if you know how to do it right. So today I'm going to try and tell you about how to do it right. So we're going to talk about squat technique, we'll talk about 2 different kinds of squats that you can do, and also how you want to use the squats in an exercise or in a workout depending on your goals. I'm a certified personal trainer through the National Council of Strength and Fitness, and I've worked with Coach Getty in the Evangel Weight Room training the varsity teams for 2 years, so I know a little bit about the subject, so I'll try and teach you some too. Alright, for basic squat technique, what you need to focus on is hips back, knees back. The movement should always start in the hips, not in the knees, and not in your lower back. It's always the hips. So what you need to do is keep your shoulders back, your head up, your chest out, and your hips need to go back, and all of your weight should settle onto your heels. So your toes really don't even need to touch the ground. And you just move back and down until your hips go in just about parallel to the ground. You don't want to go any lower to the ground or lower than parallel, because that puts a lot of strain on your ACL and your PCL, and you can tear your ligaments and your tendons. So, and still always you need to keep your weight on your heels, and that helps to keep your knees from drifting over your toes. And if your knees drift in front of your toes, that also puts a lot of strain on your ACL and your PCL, which you don't want. So when you're all the way down into parallel, you just use your gluteal muscles and your hamstrings to bring yourself back up to standing position. So you should always start with holding on with to something to get the right technique. Start with a chair, anything that'll give you support. Then as you gain confidence, you can just try body weight without holding on to anything, and then you can start adding more added weights with either dumbbells or barbells. So I'll just tell you now about 2 different barbell exercises that you can do with a squat. The first is a back squat. The back squat is just like a regular squat. You use proper squat technique with a barbell, and just like the exercise says, it's on your back. So the bar needs to rest right on your trapezius muscle, which is the squishy part that you like massaged on your shoulders. And you need to always make sure that it's low on your trapezius muscles, not up towards the T1 vertebrae. That's the bump on the back of your neck, because if it gets close to that, you have a possibility of being paralyzed if that bar smashes on that T1 vertebrae. That's no good for anyone. So you need it to be low, and you just hold on to the bar wherever you feel comfortable, and then do a squat with good technique. And you can add as much weight to that as your body can handle. The second exercise is a front squat. It's the same as a back squat. It's just a regular squat that uses a barbell, only instead of being on the back, it's on the front. You balance the bar on your anterior deltoids, and you have to bring your shoulders, extend your shoulders and your arms so that your humeral line is parallel to the floor, and you keep your wrists real relaxed so that no strain can happen to them. You won't strain your tendons in there. And then you just squat like that, just using regular squat technique. And your balance lifter should be able to lift 80% in a front squat of what they can do in a back squat. Okay, now that I've told you about 2 exercises, I'll tell you how to use them in a workout according to your goals. Now, if your goal is strength, you need to be working at least 80 to 95% of your 1 rep max for each rep. And you should do about 3 to 5 reps per set, and only 25 to 30 rep sets in a workout. and you need to have lots and lots of rest to let the energy system replenish. So you should have about 2 minutes to 5 minutes in between each set. So you need to really recover. But if your goal isn't strength, your goal is muscle size, which is called hypertrophy, you need to do about 70 to 85% of your max with 30 to 60 seconds between each set. And you need to have about 30 to 45 sets per workout. Some people, however, don't want strength or bulk. They want endurance and tone. So if your goal is endurance or tone, make sure that you use 50 to 70% of your max with less than 30 seconds rest. Like sometimes 20 is probably the best number, because if you have too much rest, then you won't be building up your endurance. So now I've given you information about squat technique, 2 different squat exercises, and how you can use them in a workout to reach your goals, depending on whether they're strength, hypertrophy, or endurance. And knowing how to correctly perform a squat or any exercise can save you from having any serious injuries, and they can help you have better range of motion and better health as you age. Thank you.